It's almost become a reflex in game communities. When a big title launches, the loudest of voices often focus on what's wrong, and yet sometimes you boot up a game expecting disappointment, and instead you're actually hooked. That's the experience a lot of people are reporting right now with Diablo 4 in its current state. The best way to put it into words is the game just feels right at the moment. Not perfect, not revolutionary, but it feels right. So let's start with one of the biggest comparisons between Diablo 4 and a lot of other major RPGs like Path of Exile or even something like Last Epoch. Path of Exile 2 is going to lead very heavily into deep systems, dense mechanics, and very brutal progression curves. Last Epoch is going to offer creative crafting and even skill customization through its unique talent system. And Diablo 4 typically sits somewhere in between those two. And in my opinion, that middle ground is exactly why Diablo 4 kind of shines. It's not overwhelmingly complicated. You don't need spreadsheets to understand your build. You don't need to spend hours theory crafting before your character feels actually functional. At the same time, it's not cartoonish, the world is grim, the atmosphere is oppressive, and the overall aesthetic returns that darker root that's within the franchise. There's something satisfying to me about a game that kind of respects your time without drowning you in systems. Let's talk about the combat, and I think this is where Diablo 4 really shines above most other ARPGs. Whatever criticism exists around in-game or atomization, one thing is consistently praised, and that's the combat in D4. It's weighty, it's responsive, abilities land with an impact, animations are smooth, and even the audio design reinforces every single ability. And in an RPG, to me, that matters almost more than anything else. Obviously, you need the systems to back that. Of course, you need a good game, right? But you need something to really set in that RPG experience. You need that good loop. And right now, the core combat loop in Diablo 4 has and will continue to feel very polished. So this is something that Diablo has really always nailed, even from back in Diablo 2. The combat has always felt great, and it continues to feel great. Now, another thing that's recently been introduced into the game is the Paladin. And the addition of the Paladin class has kind of reignited the franchise. And a lot of longtime fans consider it one of the most iconic archetypes in the franchise's history. And really, by bringing the Paladin into Diablo 4, it almost feels like a course correction. And it's almost ironic, really, one of the most beloved classes in the series was not available at launch, and it took years to bring it back. But now that it's here, it is transforming the experience for a lot of people. You know, the Paladin fantasy is really strong, right? You're a holy warrior with heavy armor. You have auras, righteous power. You have that durable frontline presence. And it taps directly into nostalgia from Diablo 2, while also benefiting from that modern combat fluidity we talked about earlier. So not everything's all sunshine and rainbows. There are still some criticisms about the game. Let's just quickly talk about what people are still not liking about Diablo 4. So most people will say the first 10 to 20 hours of the game is great. The campaign's fun. The campaign is one of the better parts of Diablo 4, in my opinion. You know, the early progression feels very smooth. Your skills unlock at a steady pace, and your power ramps very quickly. What a lot of people still don't like about Diablo is the seasonality that comes with the game. And, you know, most RPGs are seasonal by now, but Diablo 4 seasons just seem to hit a little bit harder and quicker than most other ARPGs. It's really fun for like a week or two, and then you just kind of run out of things to do. So loot can start to feel very repetitive. The legendary drops just kind of start to blur together almost. And progression just becomes almost too linear, almost incremental. And it's almost like with Diablo 4, you're in this early honeymoon phase almost for a week or two. And then you just kind of go on to another game and you forget about it for 2 or 3 months until the next season. So players that are expecting a forever MMO experience might feel a little bit disappointed. But that's just kind of the shift that we're seeing in RPGs, and that's the way that the genre will continue to go. Now, there's also the loot debate. So if there's one area that's still kind of dividing the community, it's going to be the loot design. Compared to Path of Exile 2, itemization Diablo 4 can feel very streamlined, sometimes too streamlined. By level 60, your build often feels online from there, and then the upgrades just become very incremental. You know, there's fewer dramatic shifts. And we kind of talked about that earlier a little bit. But some players really do crave a little bit more complexity, more build-defining moments, more crafting depth, and more experimentation. But on the flip side of that, you know, other people like me, I appreciate the clarity around the build. And, you know, I don't want to be doing I don't want to be studying external guides for hours. Just want to log in, and smash some demons and log off for the day, right? So it's like we have two different groups of players all trying to play the same game. And Diablo 4 kind of has to find that happy balance between the two. It's almost like a philosophical divide, right? Now, there's also been a lot of changes that have happened recently in Diablo 4 that has made it better, in my opinion. We've had reworks to the tempering and the masterworking systems. They are now much smoother. They're more, I guess they're less RNG dependent, and those systems now respect your time more, which is great. We also have war plans coming, which will be really neat. That kind of tailor your end game to a few specific activities that you enjoy, while also juicing up the rewards that you get for those activities. We also have the cube coming back to Diablo 4, which was a huge part in Diablo 2, kind of functioned as a small inventory expansion and almost like a crafting tool in Diablo 2. And I think that this is the angle that they're going for, is the Diablo 2 version of the cube. The Diablo 3 version of the cube functioned as legendary power slots mixed in with some like material conversion. A lot of people didn't like that, but this is something else that's coming to the game that I think the developers are kind of understanding that the game itself is like the gameplay itself is good. It's a systems issue within the game. So I think that's really what they're trying to tackle now. It's not new uniques or new items or anything like that, and it really needs to be added to the game. It's the loop that they need to focus on. Another thing that's really great about Diablo 4 is it's very casual friendly, right? And this is something that people are also split on, and we did kind of touch on this earlier. But the game is very accessible, and a lot of people think it might be a little bit too accessible. But accessibility doesn't necessarily mean like the game itself is shallow. It's just a game that really respects your time, in my opinion. So just to kind of sum all this up, is Diablo 4 bad or good right now? And is it worth coming back to? So is it the deepest ARPG ever made? Probably not. Is it the most complex? Definitely not. But it is polished. It's combat focused, and it's very satisfying to play. And sometimes that's really all it needs to be. The new expansions look very, very promising, right? We have the end game that's expanding that we kind of talked about earlier coming. We got the Warlock class that's coming here in a few months. And Diablo 4, to me, it looks to be in the best state that it has been since it was originally released. The hype behind Diablo 4 is definitely trending upwards. So overall, is Diablo 4 good? Is it bad? Is it worth coming back to? Yes, in my opinion, it's worth coming back to right now. Overall, the game is pretty damn good. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.